So fall of 2020, in the emails, we've been kind of trying to give some sneak peeks of what it is that's been going on. One of our major changes this year is this new mission statement that we have. And so our mission statement is that our Vada Covenant students are realizing the depths of God's love and experiencing the thrill of faith together. As we've been processing kind of the future of student ministries at ACC, given where we are in this moment in history, we felt like these two pieces were really important. And so the first one, the realizing the depths of God's love, I feel like as I look back on my youth ministry story, I see this great, hold on, we got a participant person. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I don't know how to get them in. And, all right, anyway. So I think as I look back on my youth ministry story, I found that the moments, Mexico mission trips, moments at youth group, all these different chances to experience the depths of God's love, this was huge and very impactful for me and where I'm at in my faith. And so as I look forward and wanting to care well for your students, I feel like the depths of God's love, the pursuing of more and deeper is an important part in the life of a student. So as they grow and as they go into college and adulthood, they can look back on these memories and on these moments and say like, no, God is real. God is a part of my story, and I'm very thankful for that. And then the second piece of this mission statement we find is really important is experiencing the thrill of faith together. As we were looking through this mission statement, I found a really great site called Word Hippo. If you've never been to Word Hippo, you should. It is the greatest thesaurus rhyming thing ever. I'm on it daily now because all the words that come from this site is pretty incredible. But as we were looking for this like word here, the thrill word, we were trying to figure out like how is it that we bring the adventure side to faith? How is it that we feel like students will be excited about wanting to jump in and do it? And so the thrill of faith, that if we really think about how it is that we get to know God here on earth as a thrill and not an obligation, but rather this journey and this adventure that we get to go on is really exciting. And so the thrill of faith together, not just individually, but as a community of students, again, I think gives an opportunity for students to walk away from high school and middle school, having moments and memories that will sustain them in their life of faith. It's our hope that we don't have middle schoolers and high schoolers that love God and not college students and adults. We want to give them a great start to continue and grow in their relationship with God. So this thrill of faith, I think, is an important part of our program and how it is that we are looking to do that. So there's some new things that are coming up this year that help accomplish that mission statement. And they're all, and all the pictures I'm about to show you have a pineapple in them, because I'm finding as I look online for pictures that pineapples are very versatile and they can fit in any and all situations. So you're about to experience that now. So the first one is once a month in the fall, we're going to do what we're calling Reach Nights. And these Reach Nights are once a month gatherings where students can invite their friends to an either online or in-person moment. It's important to note that all of our plans that we have going forward will have the option of being both in-person and online. Because knowing the unpredictability of COVID-19, there might be a moment here, hopefully not, we're praying against this, but hopefully not, we might get shut down again. We might go back to where we were in March and April, but we still want to be able to provide awesome programming for students. And so everything that we're doing here is connecting both online and in person. We want to give students an opportunities in a safe way to connect in person, but if we can't do that based on government restrictions or different things, then we have options online as well. So these Reach Nights are once a month gatherings where students are going to come through the church. In the church, there'll be masks, kind of like our Sunday experience. When they're moving around throughout the building, they'll be wearing masks. As they walk in, we'll be doing temperature checks. We just bought like 2 of these kind of infrared temperature things. I've been shooting everything to figure out like how hot it is, like my computer laptop and my forehead and like my computer monitor, because they're fun to play with, but they're also very important tools for safety. And so we've gotten these, so as students walk in, they'll get their temperature checked. They'll have, a check to make sure that there's masks. Throughout the building, we've put a lot of different spaces where they can have hand sanitizer. And so we're trying to do the best we can. In the youth room, the chairs will be socially distanced. So we're trying to create space here that's both safe, but also fun. Because the point of these Reach Nights are to give students a chance to bring friends, for them to engage with the life of the church. One thing that COVID has offered the church is that we are now a needed piece in the life of adolescents. Before, it was church tends to be a thing that like, oh, well, if school isn't happening, if marching band isn't happening, if club sports aren't happening, if blank, blank, blank isn't happening, then church will work. But now with a lot of those things shut down, we've seen from parents say like, no, the church needs to be the place where our students can connect, where our students are building community because they're doing this hybrid model, they're online for school. I want my student to be with other students, and what better place to do it than the church? And so I feel like this is a real opportunity for us at ACC and, Big C Church, not just in Arvada, but throughout the country, where we get to say like, no, the church has something that can really be beneficial for the life of your student in their mental health, in their faith development, in all the different pieces of an adolescent journey. This faith place here at Arvada Covenant can really help your students. So Reach Nights are that opportunity where they can connect together and have fun. They're really based around fun. They're based around moments where students can come to church, and maybe they come in with an expectation of what church looks like. They have an idea of like, well, church is this stuffy place for old people and Republicans. And, old people and Republicans are of course welcomed here. But for the life of students, maybe they see a different, hey, there's just people who want to have fun. There's students, there's people who, like adults, who care about me, who want to ask deeper questions about my life and things like this. And I think that's a really important part in the life of faith. So where students feel like they can invite a friend, and the relational capital that they will spend at school will be spent well on inviting a friend to something, is what we're really trying to shoot for. So these are once a month. The first one is September 3rd, and September 3rd really does mark our calendar going into the fall. And then what you're wondering, what happens in these next 3 weeks, kind of in the middle? Well, here's what happens. We're calling the other nights, we're calling them deep nights. So Reach and Deep are the two different things that are happening on Thursday nights in the fall. The Reach nights are the once a month opportunities, but the deep nights, there's 3 different 3-week blocks that we're going to offer what we're calling pools. And we're calling them pools for a few different reasons, but the point of these deep nights is that they're going to come to the church, and students will be able to decide and choose a pool that they want to attend. It's a class kind of format where they will learn a different thing about life, about faith, a question they have about God. And so some of the ideas, none of these are confirmed. We're still working on that. We've met with our leaders a couple of weeks ago, and we've been trying to process with them like what type of pools they would want to teach. But we're looking at like a life class where they would go through like a 3-week class on car maintenance. Like for a high schooler who gets their license for the first time, how do you change your oil? How do you change your tire? How do you do great basic car maintenance? So it'd be 3 weeks on car maintenance. And we feel like this is an important part of faith because we're being good stewards of what it is that God has given us. Questions we've talked about, huge questions that are facing our students right now, are questions around justice, around sexuality. I mean, what does God say about human sexuality? What does God say about justice and the importance of that in our world? These are places, these pools and these pods will be able to be places where we can process these questions here at church. And we've also talked about some different Bible options and giving students a really rooted foundation of faith. And so we'll have an Old Testament class, a New Testament class. We'll walk through some different, the epistles and what it means as Paul is planting these churches and writing these letters, his care for these churches and his care for us in that process. So we're kind of like looking at each pool as different opportunities for students to learn different things about life and about faith. And so for each pool, our goal is to have 2 options for high schoolers and 2 options for middle schoolers. So the rhythm of the evening would look like this. It would go 7 to 8:30. At 7 o'clock, we would come do our check-in process like I talked about before. And then we would do some games, some basic fun stuff, middle school, high school kind of combined. And then we would go into our pods or our pools for about 45 minutes. And then for the last 15 minutes, kind of have some snacks, some open gym, and then they would head home. But there would be some middle school specific ones and high school specific ones. One of the hardest things in youth ministry is that the middle schoolers adore the high schoolers with their whole hearts. And they look at them and they say, that is my life. I want to be them when I grow up. But the sad truth is that high schoolers look at middle schoolers and they say, ew, why are you here? And it's so sad because they were once middle schoolers too. But they can't translate that and realize the place that they have to care well for them. Now, we do have some fantastic high school leaders who want to care well for middle schoolers, and they will. But overall, if we try to do programming for middle school and high school combined all the time, middle schoolers tend to feel sad, and high schoolers tend to feel like babysitters. and we don't want that. So for these deep nights, we're going to have two different options. So middle schoolers can go and learn these middle school specific pools, and high schoolers can learn these high school specific pools. And then again, before on the reach nights, there'll be opportunities for them to sign up for the next pool. And in each pool, we've talked about the importance of having a shallow end and a deep end. A shallow end where everyone can swim. You can stand and touch the bottom. You can keep your head above water very easily. It's impossible to drown. Now, but there are going to be moments in each pool where it's a little deeper, and it takes a little work to keep your head above water. But ultimately, that's work worth doing, in that they will learn and grow and develop as better swimmers and as better disciplers of Jesus. So our goal is that as we walk with our leaders who are teaching these pools, is that they will offer opportunities for students who know a lot about faith and for students who don't know anything about faith, or people who know a lot about car maintenance and people who don't know anything about car maintenance. But every pool has a place where students would feel accepted and known and loved as they are learning these truths about who it is that God is and how that applies to their life in faith. So this is a moment for us, I think, with COVID, where we can kind of separate amongst the building a bit. We can kind of move around to different classrooms. We're not trying to confine everyone in one space, but we'll have different classrooms. And this is why Thursday is optimal for us, is because we'll have the entire building to ourselves. On Wednesdays, we tend to compete with small groups, with children's ministry, with adult classes that are going on. And all those things are great. And not that that has been a bad partnership, but I think as we think about expanding and doing more pools and reach nights, having the entire building is really optimal for us. And so that's a little bit of the decision too, why we're moving to Thursdays. Also with Thursdays, we've noticed that there's less going on in student schedules. I know fall sports have been kind of moved to the spring and different things like that. But there was a moment when I was in youth ministry, I graduated high school in 2002, where Wednesdays were pretty sacred, where they looked at the life of what was going on in the city and they said, well, all my kids are trying to go to youth group on Wednesday, so we won't play and stuff. Those days, sadly, are very gone. And so Sunday mornings, there's a million, club sport things, and Wednesday nights, there's a million things to do. So we're trying, but Thursdays tends to still be, there's stuff happening, but not as much. And so we're hoping that that shift too will help with your schedules as you're planning all the different things for your students in the fall as well. So those are kind of our Thursday nights. We have the reach nights, pineapples that are partying, and we also have these deep nights, pineapples that are swimming. So I'll stop there real fast and ask if there's any questions about those two things and what it means for you and your family.
I think that on the deep nights that pineapple might be doing the backstroke, not so much just swimming.
It feels like the green part are the hands, right?
Yes.
And so there's a little bit of this happening. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's good.
I like the idea of moving it to Thursday nights. I'm excited that you're doing it. I think it's really important for them to kind of have a time that they feel is like specially for them, and not just that this is what we do when we all go. You know what I mean? I feel like it's more special, more unique for them. So I'm excited about that move. I think this is a great idea too. I know a lot of times kids are afraid to invite their friends to super deep Bible studies. And so having those reach nights is a great opportunity to just invite people from church. And then when they know people, they can continue coming on these deep nights. So good stuff, guys.
Cool. And all of our deep nights will be recorded every week. And so again, if we get halfway through the semester and everything shuts down again, they can still watch everything on YouTube. Or if your family has, grandma's birthday that night, we're all going out to Applebee's, I can't make it, great. You can watch it the next day or, hopefully in the next 2 days before youth group starts and things like that. So you can stay. So it's not like if you miss a week, oh, I don't want to go back to the third week because I missed the first one. Well, just watch what's going on YouTube and stay caught up.
So that includes like all the different pools, classes, they're all going to be recorded and then posted?
That's the goal. We're doing the best we can. YouTube has been a journey. Kennedy can attest to this, of understanding the live stuff. Kids Camp was a huge kind of undertaking in figuring out this kind of stream software that we've been using. And so we're going to try to kind of maximize some of the things that we learned, and that's the hope. So there'll be different playlists for the different classes. And it's how cool it would be at the end of the year, we'd have, 16 different classes that, like, if a student wants to know, like, what does Mike think about justice? boom, let's send to the YouTube, and here's the 3-week course on that. You as parents could be watching those things as well and saying, hey, Mike talked about this last week, or this pool teacher talked about this. Like, let's have a conversation. Like, what does that mean for you, and what does that look like? I think middle schoolers and high schoolers, they're asking, what does that faith look like for them? You've done a great job as parents leading them to this point, but now they want to be pursued in a way that's having them understand for themselves. And so I think this gives you more opportunity to ask those deeper questions and help your students kind of discover what they believe.
What are some other topics that you're thinking about doing with these deep nights?
Kennedy, you want to talk through a little bit of those, some of the things that we've been thinking about?
Yeah, let me think without my notebook here. Yeah, I know we're thinking like more life skill stuff, maybe like a yoga, mental health kind of class, and then I'm like drawing a blank on like other one.
And you asked me, they're like, do you want me to say anything today? And I was like, no, you just come and hang out.
And the other thing too is I'm just like taking our teachers into consideration. And so instead of asking a random person to teach a yoga class, people that commit to teaching a class, looking at what they're passionate about, and hopefully matching that to a good topic that high schoolers or middle schoolers would be interested in.
That's awesome.
So in other words, Mike is not going to be doing the yoga instruction.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm flexible when it comes to calendar, not necessarily my body. So, but I'd love to take that class and learn more about what faith can mean for that. One of the things we looked at is like financial health, for teaching high schoolers as they go, like, credit cards are bad. If I had a class like that, that'd have been very helpful for my first few years in college. I was like, you're going to give me how much money to spend a Jack in the Box? Like, yeah, I don't know, interest rates, whatever. Let's just spend all the things.
Student loans for like pens and paper, right?
Right, totally. But yeah, I mean, like talking about student loans, I mean, there's a lot of different pieces, even for middle schoolers, to learn some financial literacy, I think is really important. We've looked at definitely some Bible studies, some different, every student, if I ever ask, like, what book of the Bible do you want to read? They're all like, Revelation. Let's talk about Revelation. Because it's the weird one with dragons and, pregnant women with blindfolds and like all these like thrones and all these different deals. And they're like, what does all this mean? This is all crazy. And you're like, well, let's talk about it. And there's a lot of great tools and things we can learn about God through Revelation. So some Bible stuff like that. And then some questions of larger faith. And again, we've kind of looked at the times and where students are asking us questions. We've been doing this book club for the last like 8 weeks. And I think something that's come from that is this idea of like, how is it that we care for people who aren't like us? Bob Goff calls them, was it creepy people? What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he starts his book with like, how is it that we love creepy people and people that are different than us? And so maybe like a service class where, they take a field trip to the Denver Rescue Mission in the middle of it and find how service and justice is at the heart of who it is that Christ is and what he did here on this planet. So those are some different ideas. But if you've got things that you're like, man, I would love to teach this, we'd love to hear it. And this is a great opportunity, parents, for you to jump in the life of faith. A lot of times youth ministry, the commitment is so huge in that you're a small group leader every week. We need you from September to May. And it's like the thought of that seems like a lot. But with this, can you commit to 3 weeks at some point in the fall or in the spring, as if this model continues, if it works, where you would be able to teach and want to invest in the lives of middle school or high school students? We would love that. And as we've talked to some of our leaders, we've said, hey, who are some of your friends you think would be great at doing this? And so it's a great way, I think, for other people in our church to jump in and connect as well.
Good idea.
Hey, Mike, I just was wondering if, what the impact will be. I know Wednesday nights have typically been a time where families come together, they eat together, and then they split off. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know that middle schoolers and high schoolers will definitely be able to stay home, on that night. But just having to come 2 nights in a row, the pickup, the drop off, or that sort of thing.
Yeah. And as we're kind of as a staff working through what Wednesday nights look like in the fall as well, and there'll hopefully be some news about that in the next couple of weeks as we kind of are planning kind of our entire church calendar and not just youth ministry, but wanting our students and our families to engage as much as possible, but also understanding there are a lot of moments where you're going to drop them off on Thursdays, but then also be here on Wednesdays. One of the things I noticed with Oasis, I eat that meal every week. There weren't a lot of students that engaged in that time. Families of younger kids and small groups definitely did, but not a lot of students' families did. And so you might be one of those families, and I'm sorry if it adds another thing for you, but as we're kind of looking at the life of our calendar, it feels like what the church can offer as a whole, student ministry fits really well on Thursdays. But it's a great
Okay,
concern.
I was
about.
just wondering, because I know, I mean, COVID won't be forever. So, you know.
Right.
But it was also a good way for, I mean, I don't know if there was overlap. I know there's been discussion of, you know, the youth feels separate from the congregation, and, you know, Wednesdays was another way for them to be seen. I don't know. But I mean, not that it's a problem for us. Thursdays is fine. But I just was curious, you know, if that was going to be something that would impact the families.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. We never want our students to feel like they're separate, they're a separate church, but they're a part of ACC. And so hopefully through some different ways to serve on Sundays, for high schoolers engaging in Sunday service, things like this, those things can still be accomplished. But I think it's great to keep in front of us. So thank you, Kim. Other questions about just these reach and deep nights? Do you want to see the other pineapple again? There it is. It's pretty cool. Okay, so another thing that we're adding to our calendar here this next year is we're calling them Friday homerooms, and looking through Jeffco and talking even with some principals about what their plans are for high school and things like this. It seems like Friday is this day where everyone's online. So in this hybrid model, right, you have your students that are kind of going every other day, but Fridays tends to be everyone's online. And so what we thought would be a great opportunity is for the church to kind of open their doors and give students an opportunity to do their homework here and do their schoolwork here at church. And so we're going to open the building from 9 to noon. In the youth room, we're going to try to get some different desks and different spaces where they would sit at their desk with their laptop. We would create a large square around their desk, and that's their square that they're the only ones allowed in, and all the desks are socially distanced. And so students will have a chance to, at those in their square, to take off their mask to work on their homework. And it's really a homework hour. I think as I've described this to a couple of our students and a couple of our parents, they've said like, oh, sweet, now I can just come and play and hang out at the church and not do my homework, which is, you know, that's their desire. But it's our desire just to give them a place to do school together, because that's a need. That's a want in the midst of all of this COVID stuff, is just a place where they can learn and do academic stuff together. And so a thought we had with it too is like we would provide snacks. There'd be some study breaks here and there where we can kind of get kids moving, and the importance of that into learning, just kind of moving between tasks, things like this. But then also, you know, the depth of knowledge of people within our church, but why don't we bring in some tutors? And so if we figure out in the first couple of homerooms that everyone's struggling with math, you know, Heidi Williams, now she's a Williams, which is kind of fun to say that, she's a math teacher. And so maybe on Friday she can come and you know, help students who are struggling with their math stuff, or some college students who've just graduated. Carl Powell is very excited about this idea. He's an accounting major. He knows more math than I'll forget. And so it's important for, or he'll forget more math than I'll know. That's how I say that. But he would love to jump in and kind of teach our students a little bit about that. So we just wanted to give a space where they could come and be together. Again, trying to build community, connection over content. This gives us an opportunity to be connected in a different way. And so again, depending on the different academic needs, we would have some tutors. This is like a total, this is uncharted territory. I think of all the different things we're doing, this one's the one for me that I'm excited to see how it will evolve, how it will look like in the beginning of the semester and at the end of the semester. And with the goal every time is that students would be doing homework. I don't like to shush at youth group. I'm not a shusher. I like to say like, hey guys, let's come back together. Like shh feels like a very, I don't know, like teacher thing. It just doesn't feel like a youth pastor kind, caring way to communicate. And so I try to like, but I'm going to be a shusher. Like that's going to be the deal. If kids aren't coming to do homework, then they won't come, because it's really important that they have the space to get their work done, but then also some space to kind of do that together like they're used to doing. And so that's kind of the hope with our Friday homerooms. Questions, comments, concerns about this?
I'm curious to see how it goes. I love the idea. I think it would provide another opportunity for social connection. I know that's something my kids really missed with school being shut down. They still got the work done, but they didn't get to even see their friends. And so
Right.
I think it's a cool idea. I'm a little nervous for you, if I'm honest, but I think it's a great thing to try.
Yeah. And this is, again, another place where you guys can jump in too. So you don't have to be nervous for me. We could be nervous together.
With you.
With me. That would be so fantastic. And trying to think of ways that parents can jump in and do that. I guess part of my goal too, and some of this, is to give students a chance to see someone besides Kennedy and I. We love that piece of it. We want them to feel known by us. But a lot of some of the research that says students who maintain faith past high school kind of have 5 adults that they know in their church, where they can walk in and that person would know something about them. They would know their story. They would say, hey, how'd the soccer game go this last week? How'd your math test go? They'd be involved in their life in some way. And so this is another opportunity for an adult to be connected to a student. And it doesn't have to be the super deep, here's my deepest and darkest things that are going on, but just a connection point, so that as they leave, they would feel like Arvada Covenant's still a place where they could come, and adults would know them and want to connect with them. So again, another place where you parents can jump in, and I would love to partner with you in these moments.
Might be a cool place for them to learn application as well. You know, that being good at math translates into career opportunities, or, you know, if people who come in are good at certain topics and they actually are doing them in their jobs, that might be a cool application point for them too.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a Friday love.
Other thoughts here? Okay, great. And then the last one, we did this over COVID. We did kind of like a COVID comfy line, but we're gonna do another fall clothing line where isn't it like the most fashionable dude in the whole world holding this? It's like all denim. I could never pull off denim top and denim pants. I feel like it's far too much denim for me to pull off, but this guy does it really well. But we want to give your students a chance to have some Arvada Covenant gear. We got some great response from that. Students who wear their shirts, it's fun to see them like not doing youth group things and wearing their Arvada Covenant like hoodie or shirt or something like that when I follow them on Instagram and different things. And so we thought we would do this. So hopefully in different seasons, we would have an opportunity for you to jump in. So we had kind of a long sleeve shirt that was really popular. We'll have that option again. We'll have, just the simple logo shirt, blue option that we had, but maybe in a different color. But then we've got some other shirt ideas to kind of hopefully that they would like. We probably won't go sweatpants this round because you can never have too many sweatpants. That's my philosophy. But those were the most expensive things last time. So we want to give you an opportunity to make sure you can buy stuff. So more t-shirts this time, less kind of hoodies, things like that are more expensive, but it's our last client. Anything you want to say about this, Kennedy? Kennedy's been kind of looking up some designs and things too.
I don't know if I have anything beyond what you just mentioned, but I'm excited for the fall clothing line.
So
yeah.
Did your students order these? Was it like, it's an online store. You just go, they'll mail it to your house. There's no pickup required. My wife works for a screen printing company down the street from the church called Born Fit. And they do this for 5Ks like all over the country. And so they were like, yeah, we'd love to open up an online store for you. It feels like a really simple, fun way to kind of get our brand out there and have students feel like they can connect with us outside of just church and things like that.
Haven is excited.
Haven's excited. Well, if Haven's excited,
Just can't wait.
it's a good sign. Okay, so those are kind of our fall plans. I do want to just say one more thing. Coming up here, we have the Putt Putt Showdown. And I forgot to add text to this part, but the Putt Putt Showdown, it was in the It's Two for Tuesday email this last week. But we're going to go to Adventure Golf, and we're going to have a pretty legit putt putt tournament, if I do say so myself. It's going to be very official and very real. And we're going to have prizes for the people who are the best, the people who are average, and the people who tried really hard. And that will be great for everyone involved. So if you're like your students like, oh man, I hate putt putt, this is going to be terrible, they should still come because it'll be just a fun time to be together. We did this as volunteers a couple weeks ago, and their COVID protocol stuff I was really impressed with, and how they made sure to like disinfect all the balls and all of the putter things and the putters, I should say, putters. How they disinfected all that stuff, the distance opportunities, it's outdoors. It felt like a really great, easy thing. So you're going to pick up and drop off your student there. And I forgot to add the details to the thing. Kennedy, do you remember all the details for this? I love, you're on mute. This is my favorite part of these.
You're so mean.
Sorry, I did that again. I believe we said 7 o'clock, but I probably have it written down.
Friday the 21st, 7 to 8:30 is this night. And they'll get a chance to either do 1 round or 2 rounds of putt putt, depending. And when you get there, there'll be some tailgating stuff that we're going to do in the parking lot, some snacks as they jump into those, and that'll be really fun.
Sorry, we said 6 to 8 for this.
Sorry, 6 to 8. That's correct.
6 to 8.
I'm mixing it up with the deep night things, so that's good. Kennedy.
And then did you say it's at Adventure Golf?
Yeah.
In Westminster? Okay, cool.
Yep.
And they're allowed to bring friends for free? Is that what we read?
Yep. And so on the form, it's $5 for your students who are connected. If they'd like to bring a friend, it's free for them. And just in the registration form, you just use the coupon code FRIENDS, and their parents can sign up for free. And that's how that goes. So,
okay.
But the link's in the 2 for Tuesday email from this last week, but I can also post it on Facebook. So if you're not connected on those emails or you can't find it, you accidentally deleted it, I can post it on there as well. If you're not connected to our email stuff, it's really the best place to learn about all the different things that are going on. 2 for Tuesdays is the 2 most important things that are happening every week in the life of student ministries. And then we send out some special stuff. We'll probably send out a special putt putt one probably this week or next, just to make sure people know. But we already have like 10 people signed up, which is really fun. Normally the first one, no one signs up. It's always like the week before. But to have kind of some early people signing up was really encouraging and fun. And this is both middle school and high school. And there'll be prizes specifically for middle schoolers and specifically for high schoolers, and things like that. So yeah, questions about that at all? Great. The last thing that I wanted to mention that we don't have a firm plan on yet is Sundays. As we're continuing to evaluate what's going on Sundays, we're trying to figure out ways to do student ministry programming on Sundays, but with everything else that's going on and wanting to adhere by all the guidelines, we haven't landed on what that is yet. So know that we're thinking about that and trying to figure out great ways to connect. Sundays have been really great for that 5th grade transition into student ministries. And so that's really at the heart of what we want that to be a good place, a place where they can come and have good programming and feel like, oh man, I want to be a part of student ministries. And so that's a piece we're still working on. We'd still love our high schoolers to jump into the services. We feel like, to Kim's point, it's a great way for them to connect into the larger body. But for middle schoolers, this feels like a great entry point. I always consider it like when you buy a new goldfish, there's the fish tank and they're kind of in the bag at first. And you put the bag kind of in the water for like 10 minutes or something to kind of get the water to adjust. And then you kind of let them swim into the larger tank. This is kind of what Sunday mornings get to be for our 5th graders. It's a great entry point into getting to know me and to Kennedy and what youth ministry looks like as we're asking them more deeper questions about who is it they are and how is it they interact with each other in community. And so that's, again, not one that we've landed on quite yet or have dates for, but it's one that is definitely at the forefront of our planning as we continue to go forward, because we want to make sure that's a good opportunity for students to engage. So Sunday mornings are a big question mark still, but you will know as soon as we do. We're talking with Stacy, and as their team is trying to figure out if they can jump back in on a Sunday rhythm. And as we're looking at kind of the larger church, and we've done this for about a month now, and there's been some great pieces to it. There's some stuff we still need to work on and tweak. But it's all, again, uncharted territory in COVID, and it's not what we're used to. So we're trying to figure out what the best opportunities are for our students and adults to engage. So that's a little bit of the Sunday update. Any other questions, things we didn't cover, and what's going on? One note too for middle school, the faceplant trip that we've done in the fall last year, that's going to get postponed to the spring potentially. I'm on the faceplant planning team, and we felt like with all the unpredictability, it was really hard to think about doing an overnight weekend retreat for middle schoolers in the fall. So we won't be doing that, but we're hoping to be able to do that in the spring, given where COVID's at and things like this. Some of you jumped into this parent survey that we did amongst churches all throughout Arvada, and one of the clear things that came from the about 90 or so families that jumped into that was that there's just the idea of an overnight camp right now is feels like a little too much, especially in the fall. So we're hearing that advice and we're saying, great, let's not try to put our effort into something that parents will feel comfortable with. Let's push towards the spring, and hopefully things will have a little bit more normalcy to them then. Where we'll know a little bit more and have some better options to make sure things can be safe with those overnight experiences. I love overnight stuff. We were supposed to be coming back from Orlando like today, I think. And so that was a sad thing this whole week, just kind of walking this week being like, man, we were supposed to be doing some urban farming for this Covenant church there. And the thought of the middle school retreat at Covenant Cedars and some plans we had for that. I love the overnight stuff, and it's a real heart of mine to give students a chance to break away and connect with God in those ways. But it's just, we can't do that right now. There's just too much unknown. So we're hoping to build back to that, but right now we just can't do that safely and well, and we won't do stuff that's not safe and fits with what's going on with you guys. Any other questions, comments, concerns in what we're doing here in the fall? Sweet.
Thanks, Mike. I'll just say thanks for you and Kennedy, all your work and brainstorming, being creative.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Thank you, Haven. You make it
Thank
awesome.
you.
And so do all your students. Really, you're the reason, your commitment to us and your connection makes a lot of this such a fun job to do. Some fun thing to plan, and knowing that you guys are connected to it, that you're engaged in it, that our students are learning more about God, and to see the life of faith for them. I had a couple weddings I was supposed to do this summer that got canceled for students I knew since like 4th grade. And to see them now get married and to be in the ceremony where they're wanting God to be a part of their marriage and their life as they become parents, it's the coolest thing. So I really feel like I have the best job in the whole world. And it's so fun to do it with all of you as you kind of manage all the things that come with students in this unique time of life. It's so fun to partner with you. And so it really is a gift to be in ministry with you. And Kennedy and I are just super thankful for your involvement. And is that right, Kennedy? I don't want to speak for you. Are you thankful for all the parents?
Yes, I am. Yes, for sure.
So one last thing I just want to say, here's our mission statement again. Arvada Covenant students are realizing the depths of God's love and experiencing the thrill of faith together. And as we go from here, if you see ways that we're living into this, we'd love to hear that. It's so encouraging on a Tuesday to get a message from a parent saying, hey, this is how my student is understanding the thrill of faith. But if we're also not living into this, we'd love to hear ways that we could be better. And you're the ones who see a lot of the blind spots that we don't. We come up with all of these plans here at church, but you're the ones who are the #1 discipler of your students. So as they're walking through faith, as they're understanding more about who it is that God is, if there's things that we could be doing to help you in that journey, we'd love that. And so again, if there's ways that we're living into this, we'd love to hear it. If there's ways that we could be doing better at living into this, we'd love to hear that as well. So please feel free, give me a call, send me an email. Again, I'd love to pay for your coffee and just sit and talk about your student and who they are and how they're engaging or not engaging, and ways with which we can continue their faith life together. So yeah, that is fall 2020. And
Awesome.
Tuesday
Thank
email
you.
this week, we'll have all of this stuff kind of in a written format. Again, and I'll post this video on YouTube. So if there's any questions about something you saw, you're welcome to go back, and I could even put the slides up, I guess. I don't know if you'd want the slides. I mean, I could just send you all the different pineapple pictures. Can we just be really impressed real fast with how many pineapple opportunities Look at with the books, guys. Come on.
Especially the putt one. I was particularly impressed with that one.
Thank
It does
you.
kind of look like a putter cover.
That's what I did there. I mean, I forgot all the caption tests, so that's the part I need to work on. For the next section. But yeah, this is really great. Next level youth pastor care for parents, people. So you're welcome.
Thank you for the time you spent finding pineapples, Mike.
Yes, that's
Yes.
good. It's
Thank you. And I'm sorry because I couldn't figure out how to coordinate the phone with the computer
oh, sorry.
earlier, but I just wanted to reiterate, we have been so impressed and thankful for the creativity that you and Kennedy and all of the church leaders have shown during these strange times. And just like, I mean, Lex, every time there's an event, we've never got so much snail mail at our house. And all the drive-bys. And I don't know if you were as awesome on social media before, and I just probably wasn't paying attention, because I'm on social media a lot more now. But just everything, all the touch points, we're just so grateful. Thank you so much. And just so impressed.
That's super kind. Thank you. Yeah, it's been really fun. I think when we stopped doing the YouTube stuff, there was a part of me that was really excited to have free time again. But there was also a part of me that was really sad because that was a unique, I have these I'm calling them COVID memories. It was a little journal I've been writing these different moments. And one of them was just the fact that we get to do and connect through comment section, like on YouTube and all that stuff was just, as Kennedy, we'd get done, we'd close the computer and we'd be like, oh my gosh, this was really fun. Or these nights we're like, oh yeah, that didn't work at all. But your patience with us has helped us, I think, immensely as we've been trying to navigate all of this. So really, it's super fun to partner with you guys. And again, just specifically, we love Lex and just the unique life that he brings to our group. It's really fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, Kennedy, do you want to pray for us as we close? And again, if there's anything else you need, please reach out. We'd love to talk more.
Yeah. Heavenly Father, thank you so much again for this time today to just meet with all these families and parents, God, that love their students so much and have made this commitment to have their students be a part of this ministry. Lord, is such a blessing. And I pray that you'll be in each of these upcoming pieces of ministry, God, in the Reach Nights, the Deep Nights, homerooms, and even Putt-Putt that's coming up, God. That students, they really will realize the depths of your love, God, and just enjoy being in a faith community together and realize that it's an adventure and, something that they want to do their whole lives. We pray all these things in your name. Amen.